Today's video is going to be on vehicles. The status symbol of the U.S. costs more than some houses and causes a lot of problems. I'm going to give 4 problems that vehicles cause. I'm going to give a solution to it. I'm going to give how to pay for that solution. The first problem is going to be air quality. Like millions of Americans, I have sinus issues. I'd like to attribute those to allergies, but the data doesn't back that up. Millions of people in this country are breathing air that's toxic to them on a daily basis. Air that causes both short and long-term illnesses to the people who are exposed. This increases sinus problems in exposed individuals like myself. Second is the cost. The average median household income in the United States in 2020 was $70,000. After taxes, you're going to take home about $55,000. The cost of owning a car on average costs about $9,000. To put it another way, a sixth of your income is going to go toward paying for your vehicle. That number also does not include the cost of gas. The third up is time. Now, while this one is very dependent on where you work, the average person spends about 100 hours sitting in traffic. That's roughly 2.5 weeks per year of unpaid time and road rage. Well, I mean, not everyone rages when they're in traffic, I guess. But if we take a societal view rather than an individual view, public transport is a much better option. The New York City subway services, man, that is a mouthful, services 2.4 million people a day. It would be impossible to do that with personal vehicles. This is because trams and trains carry people quicker and with fewer vehicles. In the picture, you can see the difference between cars and other modes of transportation. While looking at this, I'd like you to notice the amount of space that cars require as opposed to the other methods, because it brings me to the fourth issue, which is space. To try and deal with the time issues, we build more lanes. To store cars while we're doing things, we need parking lots. As the area becomes more populated, the amount of wasted space for vehicles increases. There are roughly 8 parking spots for every vehicle in the United States. Parking covers more than 5% of all urban land. As more roads and parking spaces are built, we have to build everything further away. This creates longer commutes, which defeats the whole purpose of building more lanes in the first place. Last up is how dangerous they are. In 2020, 35,000 people, roughly 35,000 people, were killed by vehicles. Approximately 3.4 million people were sent to the emergency room because of vehicles. I think we all know more than one person who has been in an automobile accident. Not something that you hear on TV, but you personally know more than one person who has been in an automobile accident. That's just how common they are. Now, the idea of getting rid of personal vehicles may sound crazy, but it works. I think we can all agree that Paris is a major city, and they're doing fine with it. They've been converting over to car-free for the last few years, and they will completely ban all cars in 2024. They can only do this because they have very good public transport. They have a lot of trains. I can hear the naysayers screaming about the costs. While the estimates do vary on how much it would cost to deploy high-speed rail in the United States, I think the average is around $500 billion. And that sounds like a lot of money. But did you know that the Department of Defense, not Department of Spend, spends around $800 billion a year? To say that we overspend on our military is an understatement, and that money doesn't help our citizens in the least. Now, I don't need to get rid of all the defense spending to cover high-speed rail. All I need to do is reallocate 10% of that for like 7 years to cover it. It'll take longer than that just to build it, and then we have high-speed rail paid for, and we can all enjoy the benefits of it. I mean, a bullet train from New York to LA in 4.5 hours, how cool would that be? You get the added benefit that unlike planes, which cause that air pollution that I was talking about earlier, trains can be run completely on renewable energy. This has been yet another old white guy giving out his thoughts and opinions to the world. Like and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.